I got a freestyle I just dropped on YouTube.
Let's get this party going.
You got another day to be great. You woke up, so that means that you have another day to be great.
All right, what's up, y'all? So listen, this is episode number 357 of the Homeroom with Smooth podcast. It is called Family Values, and I got with me Kaysha Richardson from the Karis Project. Wait, you said Kaysha Richardson from the Karis Project. See, I knew myself, so I caught it. I caught it. You ain't had to tell me. I caught it. Yep. Anyway, how you doing today?
I'm all right. Thank you for having me on. That's what's up. Thank you. I appreciate it. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing great. This is a wonderful evening. Glad to be off work. I'm tired of working. How was your day?
It was good. I actually I'm in the Washington area. I actually went down to Dover, Delaware earlier today and drove back. Had to go pick up some mail. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. It's my first time over there, but yeah, kind of glad to be back and just chilling, you know. It's Friday.
Yeah. Oh wow, yeah, you're up there. Yeah.
Where are you?
I'm in California.
Oh, California, you're all the way on the other end.
Yeah.
You're on the West Coast.
Yeah, I'm on the West Coast.
All right, that's what's up. Do you like it though?
I like it.
It's
very.
expensive, isn't it?
Yeah. Now that much is true. It is very, very expensive. Very expensive. That's why I'm looking forward to leaving.
Oh, where are you going?
I'm probably gonna move to Texas. Like more than likely. That is
Texas.
It's
Nice.
it's like an 85 to 90% sure I'm moving to Texas.
Where?
I'm thinking about Austin. That's how I feel personally.
Yeah.
Austin. Because I'm like, if I move to Houston, I'm probably gonna be one of those people where my house floods. So I just have bad luck. So I'm like, nah, that's not me. And in Dallas, everybody I know from Arkansas moved to Dallas, and I was just like, I don't want to repeat like old trends and stuff, like retread old paths. I'd rather like go down something new. So I'd rather move to Austin. So then I'm like, I'm close to families in Arkansas. I have family in like Utah and all that other stuff. And so I have a major airport. Like that's one of my main sticklers. Like if I live somewhere, I gotta have an airport within an hour. Like that's major. I can't be paying like $1,000 to go fly to California. I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, I know Texas is cool. I like Texas. I actually really love Texas. Yeah.
Texas. Yeah, Texas is solid. How's Dover? Like, how's the Washington Dover area? Like, how's that? Because I've been over there.
Area. I mean, in the Maryland, Washington area, if a crack house was a state, it would be like Washington, Baltimore. Probably throw Chicago in there too, but you know, like Baltimore and DC, man, I don't know. It's not cute. I don't know. I mean, some of the people are nice, but you know, I don't know. It's not Texas.
Yeah. Once you get out of
California. So yeah.
Yeah. Because I've been to DC a couple times. Like I rode the train up from Virginia because I was in Virginia for like 6 months. Like so I would ride the train up because like driving just it wasn't ideal. Like I just didn't like it at the end of the day. Like the traffic, there was always construction. I just didn't like it.
Yeah, there's always construction, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous because the time it takes to drive to places like literally doubles because of construction.
And it's not even far.
Like, no, it's not. It could be like a 45-minute drive or 30-minute drive, and it'll turn to 2 hours.
Yes.
Bad.
Yes, and that's like, what pissed me off.
Yeah.
That's why I started taking the train because I landed in DC after a flight, and I was supposed to drive back to Virginia. It took me 5 hours. I vowed to never do that again. I'm like, I'm riding the train.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. I don't blame you.
But to actually get on topic here, all right. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is so I don't know if you were tracking, but like so Tanner Dale's like adoption story, right? Like that was pretty like heart wrenching for me to listen to because like
Right.
all the details of it were like pretty insane.
Right.
So
Yeah.
first of all, like her mother like cheated on her father like while he was deployed, which is insane in and of itself. That's pretty messed up. That's up there on the messed
Yeah.
up.
Yeah,
Then
it's up there. It's like
then
top level, top tier treachery.
yeah, then thought you were pregnant by the other man and got rid of the baby, only to find out when the baby's 17, you know, she had to go through her she did an ancestry test because they're adopted parents, that's what they gave her. And so once she got that, she then which is crazy. Like she then Miranda met her brother. Her brother did his ancestry test, found her. He had been doing like a bunch of ancestry tests. By the way, I think I left that detail out. But like he had done like every one you could find, 23andMe, all of them, and he finally found her. So boom, he finds her. He reaches out to her. They start talking. They find out they share an uncle on the father's side. So the mother was never pregnant by the other man. And then insult to injury, she wants to like talk to her mother, reconcile. The mother's been passed away for 5 years at this point when she finds out. So she's got this big gaping hole that in wanting answers. And I guess you know, my question to you would be like, one, how do you feel about that? And then two, like knowing your own like relationship with like your own family and like your own dad, like how would you feel about like if that was your situation, like how would you actually like feel about it?
Well, and this is the first time I'm even hearing about the situation, like you bringing it to me. So I can only go based off the information that I'm hearing right now.
Right.
But that's straight up like, first of all, the lady fatherless behavior. Not only is she treacherous, but she's also incompetent because she doesn't know how to count
Right.
because she made a really fatal error in judgment, and that affected not only just herself but her child and her husband, and she didn't want to take accountability. And it's not even any feelings in the matter. It's the fact of the matter is what was done was way off base. You know, like she wanted to guard herself from accountability so much that she was willing to
Mm,
um put other people's literal life on the line to spare herself, and she delayed the inevitable because you mentioned that it actually did end up coming out, but she's now robbed not only herself but her husband and her daughter a relationship with each other. And uh that's extremely bad because for me personally, yeah, I was raised by a single father, my grandmother and great grandmother, and um the most important thing that a child needs, like, of course my dad always says like the number one thing is like a mother, because like this number one job in this world, because mothers have more sway than even presidents. You're raising the next generation of children, and when fathers are creating the circumstances for the success of their families, mothers have the opportunity to peacefully do that in the home, you know, when they're able to actually raise those kids in the home and not have to worry about, like, you know, going out and, you know, maybe working like 60 hours a week to take care of their kids by themselves or whatever. But when the father makes the circumstances for that to happen peacefully,
mhm.
then the mothers can do their job. So like for me, I had a grandmother and great grandmother who kind of like helped with the traditional aspect of raising me and things, and, you know, the cooking, the sewing, the cleaning, you know, the embroidery, knitting, piano, all of that stuff,
Right.
church or whatever. And then my father brought like the discipline and the structure and the, you know, the order, the, you know, doing the hard things that you don't want to do, but you need to do to kind of help push yourself to where you need to go,
Right.
seeing where I need to go from, like, you know, 40,000 feet in the air showing me everything across the board on a bigger picture and being like, this is how we can solve it, and I'm going to give you the tools along the way. You're going to do the work yourself, but I'm going to keep pushing you because I know what your potential is, I know what your limits are, and things like that. Men do that in a very different way than women, because women actually don't think that way. We're very reactive. Women are very much like, women need to be reactive because, say example, you say I have 5 children. I don't have any children, but if I had 5 children right now, they all probably have different personalities, and I need to react to all of them instantly and bond with them in that moment that there is an immediate issue and have that relatability with that child. And so women are very much emotional and malleable and reactive for that reason. They're very nurturing and loving, but they do not create circumstances across the board long term in a way that actually produces the efficiency that men do. They do not have that authority or the capability to bear the weight of even that in the way that God has made men to. Like, I have sat amongst men and heard them discuss things where everyone is laughing, and there's women at the table, we're all laughing, we're all kicking, having fun, ha ha ha, and then we leave and we're like, what's that on about? And then the men are like, well, we were talking about killing each other. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, where was that a part of the conversation? Like, none of us heard that. Like, when was that a discussion, right? But men speak in actions, my dad tells me, my father, and women speak with a lot more of their words. And when you rob a child of that experience with their father, who would have otherwise been able to bring out the best in his daughter, that is the worst thing possible, because that daughter first learns love from her father and God, and then she goes and learns that cooperation, that respect, that, you know, that structure, that communication, that trust, because fathers are the first man that you learn to trust, the first person, because when you're born from your mother, you connect with her in the womb on a very intimate and personal, like, nurturing kind of level, obviously, from mother to child. So the bond is already naturally there, but the children have to learn to trust the father through the experience of who the father shows them to be. And so when you've actually removed that experience from that daughter, it's going to affect her going forward in her relationships in life, her critical thinking skills. It's going to affect her ability to bond with a husband in the future, because even if she went to a different family, she might have had a good family with a father. Who knows? I don't know. But having her actual father who could see himself in her as his child and see what she needs to calculate the circumstances for her success and bring out the best in her, that is such an evil thing to rob from a child, because every child needs a father. And even statistically speaking, I'm sorry guys, I know I'm long, I'm a woman. I'm just a girl. No, just kidding. No, but even like statistically speaking, fathers, if it is actually unfortunately better for kids to be raised with a single father than a single mother, because of the way that the men compartmentalize and they structure and order things and the discipline, and they are able to bear the weight of work all day, separate work, and come home and still treat their children like their children and still create those circumstances for the success of their environment. Whereas women come home, if they're single moms, they're bearing the weight of that job. They come home, they want to beat everybody because there's a few drops of water on the counter. It's not clean enough. You know, like they are very angry. I had a granny that was a nurse, and she was, you know, very pristine with a lot of things. So, you know, it's different, and there's a necessity there. And I feel really sad that she went through that. It was a very wicked thing with that mother done. And I think that should be a crime. I think things like that should be a crime, because why did you, that is technically, like, she was married to a man. That should be illegal. She had that man's child and gave away that child. That's technically, if you really want to, technically, she sold that man's child without his consent. That could be kidnapping, that could be trafficking, that could be, you know, there's so many things that could be considered. You cannot, where's his rights as a father? Where's his rights to his child?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
What in the world? Like, how do you just go and do that to somebody? Like, you just secretly have his child. And a lot of women will be like, oh, well, women create life. women are XX chromosome, men are actually XY. Men actually carry the seed. They give women the seed and they harvest it and then deliver it. Men actually also determine the sex of the child. Women cannot do that. We literally just fertilize it and carry it to term. So it's like, how are you robbing somebody of that experience? How are you giving away someone's kid? I would be through the, like, I would be so fuming if I was the father, and I would be more fuming because she was dead.
Yeah.
And they couldn't deal with it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, and the daughter, man. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay because, like, from my understanding, and I'm saying this from my understanding, if y'all end up correcting me in the comments, it's fine. But what, from my understanding, like, they stayed married, and he found out like way later down the line, like through like some like paperwork that was still around, or like because you know, like adoption agencies, like they'll reach out or something for different things or whatever because you're the birth parent or whatever.
Gosh. Yeah.
And I think that's how they found out, because I think the father I guess he was getting the notifications, but he didn't know that was his daughter. He just knew that was his wife's child.
Oh,
You know?
he thought
Because
he
she was
thought his
gone
wife
already.
just gave birth to someone else's kid and then gave it up for adoption. See, if I was him, I would have investigated further from the jump and been like, no, I got to make sure, because you.
Yeah, so
I
he
mean,
doesn't, but the wife wasn't there to ask at that point. Like, you know, like she wasn't there to ask. So I feel him on like, okay, well, she must have like known that this was dude's baby, wasn't mine, you know? Like, and I think if he took it on face value, then he actually had some level of trust from her. Obviously, like, yeah, like she cheated on you. So yeah, you don't trust her, but then at the same time,
right.
with everything else, you might have some level of rapport. Like, but I don't think she would lie about something like this.
Well, you know, someone who's already done that level of treachery towards you and is already a woman whose natural disposition, she has fatherless behavior. First of all, she did not have a good father if she's already behaving like this, or God in her home. That's very clear, because she's a treacherous and vile human being. But the kind of woman who denies her natural instinct to nurture and love their own child, and to, have that respect for their husband, you made a commitment to that person. You are growing also a child in your womb. Like, people don't understand how, like, for a woman to do something like that is almost like against her own self. Like, for her to be able to do that, there's something very wrong with her mentally. So a woman who actually goes and does that level of treachery cannot be trusted at all. I would need to see everything. I'd need the proof. The who, what, when, where, why, how. I would need like the, let me see the records. Let me go and investigate. I can't trust. What? Like, what? Not only did you cheat on me when I was away, deployed, but now you're willing to just throw away your own child that you just gave birth to like it's nothing, like it's just trash. People don't understand how the women's minds work, and I think because of the feminist liberation, they've been thinking that it's normal for women to do a lot of this stuff, but women literally have to kill their humanity to do stuff like this. This is why so many women today are psychopaths, literally like narcissistic. And I hate using that word because everyone uses it all the time. But what seems like so many people are genuine narcissists and remorseless sociopaths because they are killing their natural innate nature within themselves as women to be nurturing, to be loving, to be kind, to be soft by doing things like this. I couldn't trust anyone that throws away a child like that, the most innocent form of life. There's no way.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess like for me, because in being like in watching her, like seeing her that heartbroken, and then because the worst part of the story, because he did it in 3 parts. The worst part was when she got to the fact that the mom was gone. Like, for her, she didn't have this relationship with her father. The father's trying to connect with her, but she's really confused about it because her whole like identity, when she was talking about it in part 1, like, she didn't get to know a huge part of herself because she was given away to a Mormon family, and Mormons,
Yeah.
like, what I'm saying, are traditionally like Caucasian. So like she doesn't know the black side of herself, and so she has this black man trying to connect with her, and she doesn't know exactly how to connect with her. But I mean, she doesn't know how to connect with him, but at the same time, she has that longing for wanting to connect with him because she can, how like it's innate. You know what I'm saying? Like when someone's your parent, it's innate. So part of you wants to, but at the same time, she's like, she's just torn up, and I just feel like that's just really, really like heartbreaking. Because then the
It
brother,
is.
you know what I'm saying, he's trying to connect, and it's just like, oh, like it's this, it's this weird guy, but then you find out like, oh, he is your, what I'm saying, like
Brother.
I think she said they use some weird system to like say that you're like, because half siblings were like 2,000 points on whatever scale it was. They were at like 4,000 plus. So they were like, we gotta be like super related. And it turns out, yeah, you are
Full
the
siblings,
full
yeah.
siblings. Like, I'm like, that's insane. That's insane.
Yeah, it is a very evil thing to take a child away from, their both parents. Like the child should have the opportunity to know both parents. They should be able to understand the culture and, the traditions or, the religious values or whatever that family values. If the child, like if she's a mixed kid,
Right.
a white family is going to have a hard time dealing with like the hair of a mixed child. I am a biracial child. My mother is Native American, she's American Indian, and my father is Caribbean. He's Canadian, but he's, Caribbean, his parents from the Caribbean. And, like my mom's family didn't really know what to do with my hair. But my dad's family, they are Black. So, of course, they understood.
Yeah.
And it was a very different story when I was with my mom's family versus my dad's family because they actually knew how to deal with things appropriately because there's just a lack of education there. So it's like there's a few things that will make you uncomfortable. You have to be able to know yourself. But I think for me, as a mixed person, regardless, my family was Christian and our identity was in being a Christian first, but that doesn't mean that we don't recognize the fact. Like it's not like I walk around like, oh, I don't have any color on my skin. Like, no, I'm very aware of my place in society, or how what I am ethnically affects my place in society or my purpose or whatever else. But it's not going to prevent me. So it's like being able to understand, I guess, some of those things would make a very big difference because you need someone who can help you navigate that, someone who you can relate to in that way, that can actually guide you. And clearly, you're not going to be able to if you just haven't, like, adoption is a very strange thing to me. I understand, a lot of people want, children and things like that, but it's like when things like this happen, they were a part of, they were a family that just wanted, to adopt a kid. But where is like the line? Where do we draw the line? Because what happened with this daughter technically is a crime. Like she didn't tell her husband about what happened until way after the fact. It was in fact his child. And it's like, where do you draw the line? Like how, at what point, how do you keep accountability? Because it's like, what if you just took that kid and just sold it to anybody, like
Right.
just to get rid of it? There's an extreme problem with the way that all of these things are going, and it's always okay when it happens to men. It would not be if a father did that to a mother, people would be
Oh yeah, it would have been over with. It would have been
in prison.
Yeah.
They would have been called like screaming bloody murder, saying give him capital punishment, like. But because a woman did it, it's okay. And it's like women are consistently doing these things and getting away with them and destroying like that. I can't even imagine what that's going to do to the mind of that father. Because the thing is about my father tells me about men is they don't just think about the act itself. They think about the consequence, every consecutive consequence before and after, and how that's going to affect everyone involved, like the whole chessboard kind of thing. So he's going to be calculating how all of these decisions are calculated for his own daughter's success or destruction. And probably He said, my dad said, when men are forced in a position where you like hold their hands behind their back and watch their kids suffer, or the people they love, like their wives or their children, that's when they unalive themselves, because they're like, oh my gosh, like I'm hopeless at this point. So it's like, that's why they try to fix things. But she's put him in such a precarious situation with this child and himself. I don't know how he's going to take it, if he's just, you know, going to walk away or just try to act like it's nothing. And if he is, then that's even worse. I don't know.
Yeah. So to clear up, now present day, they have a decent relationship now.
Okay, good.
They have a decent relationship. Like I was talking about her in the 17-year-old.
Okay, when she was younger.
Yeah, she's now 23. So
okay.
Yeah. She's a country artist or whatever. You can look her up. Yeah, her music's pretty good.
Good.
You know, so yeah. In that regard, I think though, just to go back, like with women doing things like that, I think like there has to be some level of, I guess some external. Oh, I know what I really want to say, but like some level of external accountability. But and then also with the adoption piece, I think it has to be saved for like actual situations where you should be giving your child up for adoption. Like, for instance, if you are like deceased or you are going to be, you know what I'm saying, you have like some terminal illness. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
like you don't have a family.
Needs to look after the kid. Yeah.
Yeah, you need the government to step in and actually look after the child. Cool, fine and dandy. That makes sense. It should be reserved for extreme circumstances. Other than that, I think people should be forced to be responsible. Like, be an adult.
I agree.
This is the consequence of your action.
It
agree. Wasn't all fun and games. You had your fun. All right, now here's what happens when you have fun. You know?
I agree. She was trying to evade consequences, and a lot of women, they think in the moment like they're reacting, and then they're just like, oh well, I just won't think about it. And a lot of women become very, very depressed, and they keep trying to soothe themselves after the fact, because they're constantly pushing off the consequences of their action, or trying to delay the consequences. And this is kind of what happens. But there should people, if you have it, my dad told me when I asked him about like, you know, abortion and things in high school, he was like, because we started talking about it, of course, naturally in school. And I was like, well, what do you think about it, man? And he was like, well, look, if you're going to be grown and do that, then you're going to be grown and take the consequences of your actions and have the kid and do what you need to do. This woman, not only did she evade consequences, how did she, I'm wondering, she was married. How did she sign off for her husband? Did she forge his signature? Did she also commit fraud? Like, there's so many different things along the way that she did, that she must have done, that was so messed up. And that people who were in the positions who were helping her do this in the different agencies knew that she was wrong, and then ended up helping her do it anyways, because there's too many stages that you have to pass to let something like that happen, to do it without knowing anything is going wrong. And so it's like, there needs to be accountability. If you have a child, you should bring it into this world and take care of it.
Yeah, the father definitely should have had to sign off on that.
Yeah, if you're married, both parents have to sign off.
If you're married, both parents should definitely have to. That
it's a requirement.
Like, now that I'm thinking about what you're saying, like, she shouldn't have been able to do that.
Exactly. Like, that's why I'm saying several crimes were committed for this to happen. This it's not even legal. Like, what I'm hearing right now, it's like not even technically legal, because you literally cannot do that. It would be a different story if she was like single and not married, and she said, oh well, I don't know who the father is, and that could have been a lie too, which would still technically also be illegal. But she would be able to sign off by herself and be like, oh well, I'm just giving away the kid. You're married. You're legally married. So it's like, no, man, there's so many messed up things that happen along this way. And it's sad, she passed away, but God at that point will hold her accountable. But people who are still alive that are doing stuff like this, they need to be accountable. You shouldn't think that you can go sleeping around and have no consequences for your actions. If you get pregnant, deal with it. That's it. Just don't do things that have outcomes that you're not prepared to deal with. If you're not prepared to deal with the consequences of your action, don't do it. My dad always told me, if you want to do something, just make sure you're ready to deal with it at the end. That's it. So now whenever I do something, I think critically, like down the line, how might this affect me? Not just today, but tomorrow and further. Am I prepared to deal with it? If I think I am, man, I'm going to do it. And with my chest, I don't care. You know?
Right. So I got a question since we're on this line of topic and thinking. So there was an NBA basketball player, and Anthony Edwards, I believe that's his name. Anthony Edwards. He plays for the Timberwolves. Whatever. Everybody knows him as Ant. Whatever. Great player, right? He's 23 years old, right? So a woman, him and a woman, they're messing around. Obviously, she gets pregnant. He's in the NBA. He makes millions of dollars. Obviously, she's going to want to keep it. But from my understanding, and again, somebody correct me if I'm wrong here. You can correct me in the comments if I got the story wrong. The woman asked him for abortion money. She asked him for $100K to get an abortion or whatever. And $100K? Yeah, that's what they said. That's what they said. I was like, okay. He gave it to her. She didn't do it. She didn't get the abortion. She kept the money. Then she had the child. And then she wanted him to be involved with her and the child. And he's like, nah. So then she goes to put him on child support. He has to pay $5,000 a month. What he does is he does 5,000 times 18 years. So whatever that math is. So 18 times 12 and all that other stuff. Boom. And then that 5,000. So boom, he does that. So he gives her $1 million. Like, I think that's what it ends up being. It ends up being around.
Yeah. I was like, it's gonna be more than $1 million.
Yeah. It's like $1 million and some change, right? For the 18 years up front, pays the whole thing in full immediately before leaving. She doesn't need to work anymore. Yeah. And then he's like, cool. Because I didn't want the baby, and I didn't want you, and I didn't want to be in the child's life. Like, he's like, I don't, because I didn't want the child. That's where he's at. So what are your thoughts on the woman, and what's your thoughts on bro paying up and saying, I don't want to be in? The woman's like in her 30s. She's like way older than him.
Is that 39-year-old?
I know woman? She's older than me. I think she might be 39. She's older than me. I know that much.
Oh, no, that lady's a whole predator. Like, first of all, she's a predator. Like, she is a predator. A man being with a woman who's like a couple years younger is completely different than a 30-something, mid to late 30-year-old woman going after a 23-year-old or 22. And well, maybe because they had a kid when he was 23-year-old young man and having a kid with it. She's a predator, straight up and down. Like, I think that's very vile. And then on top of it, taking the money, that's extortion. Give me this money to abort this child. Pay me this money to kill this person inside of me. That's extortion. That should be a crime. And then on top of it, she doesn't follow through. Then she's like, I'm now going to weaponize this child against you, use this innocent child as a weapon of force to strong arm you, gets $1 million plus more, and then is like, no, I'm just going to continue. And honestly, this is why men, my father says, need to have like more restraint and keep it in their pants and be disciplined and have boundaries, because put your life on the line for like someone like this. You should wait until marriage. This is precisely why, one of the reasons why you should wait till marriage to be sleeping with people, because there are risks like that you're not prepared to take. And on top of it, he's 23. He's thinking, I don't know what he's thinking, but he said, I'm just going to give you the 1 million plus. I don't want to be in this kid's life. $1 million isn't going to raise a child to be a grown woman or a grown man, especially if it's a son. A woman like that, first of all, she's a predator. You're leaving your son in the hands of this predator woman to raise for the next 18 years, and you're just giving $1 million. And what do you think is going to come of that young man? What do you think he's going to go out and do? He's going to become emotional. He's going to become probably violent. He's going to probably become very evil. And then he's also going to be resentful because his father abandoned him because of how crazy his mother was and left him pretty much to die, created the circumstances for his destruction because he didn't give him the tools that he needed to operate as a young man. If it's a young girl, he's pretty much creating the circumstances for her to prostitute herself because he's not going to give her the boundaries that she needs as a young girl to learn how to cooperate with a young man, with a father, with God, and how to respect and love herself, because a woman cannot do that. A woman cannot teach a young girl how to value herself, because women will tell you, like, nah, girl, I love you, you're beautiful, and blah, blah, blah. And it's all lies. It's all lies. It's just because it makes them feel better. They just want to make you feel better. A father is going to tell you, no, you're really good at math. You're really good at science because of this. I've seen you do this, and I know you can do this because right now you're here, but let's get you to here. A mother does not think that way. Like, a mother doesn't do that stuff. So even that guy who was like, I'm going to give you $1 million plus, he knows the consequences of what he's doing because he's a young man. And if he doesn't, then he has fatherless behavior too. I don't know, because money doesn't raise children. It doesn't. And this is why we're in such a mess, because everyone's just like, oh, like, materialistic nonsense.
This is like his 4th or 5th kid. This is like kid number 4 or 5 for him.
23?
Yeah, he's like 23, 24. Yeah.
Well, I was all different.
I was in shock. No, absolutely not. Come on, he's in the NBA. What?
Do they have? I don't know. I don't keep up with any of them. Do they all have consistent baby mothers?
I mean, very few of them have consistent baby mothers. Like, most of your superstars like have consistency. Like your LeBrons, your Steph Curry.
They have wives, right?
Kobe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody that's great. Magic Johnson had a wife. Everybody that's great has a wife.
Yes, and that's why
there's a real, like, true relationship with having a good wife and being great. There's a strong relationship with that.
There is, because God, there is protection. There is protection in having a husband and a wife, like a couple working together in unity, because if something is going sideways, like, men and women operate very differently, but God made it that way so that we can actually cover each other's blind spots in a way. Like, when it comes down to, things about women, a woman can protect her husband against the vials of other disgusting predatory women that's coming to do awful things behind the back door, and he can protect against the men that's doing stuff, or the war that they need to mitigate every day, because honestly, everything is war all the time when you go outside. Women don't see it that way, but literally everything is war. In the workplace, on the street, whatever it is, there's always that risk of threat of violence or chaos or whatever. Women just don't look at life that way, but they're like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time, la la la, and there's a different value, but women are supposed to be that help me. And so supporter, having that help me and supporter helps men continue to do their great things. I don't care what anyone says. The best thing that you can be is like a married person, like with a come up, because you're just going to grind together. Like, it's way better than being single. I completely agree with you.
Yeah, it is way better. There's no way, like, outside of like being a man, when you're trying to like grind and do a lot, and you might be like moving around a lot, if you can't find the woman that like actually like fits that, then cool. Like, being single is probably the most ideal thing for you, so you're not being neglectful of your duties as a husband. But when you're outside of that, like, at some point you got to go, you know what, hey, look, I gotta lock in.
At some point you need to realize, because it is a danger to your assets and everything that you have if you continuously sleep around. Because imagine you continuously sleep around like that one guy was. You have all these babies from different women, and what if they all try to play you like that, and what, $1 million a pop plus? And then they'll waste all that money, and they won't give it on the kid. And then what? They're going to be coming to you for more, and then they'll use the courts against you. Next thing you know, you have nothing. You've lost your career, or you're done your career. Maybe you lose it because of all of the stress of everything. Who knows? Like, a woman is supposed to like speak life into you and help make your life easier. They're supposed to be your peace. Marriage is supposed to be about purpose and working together. When you are out here giving your spirit and your physical body to so many people, you're literally taking out parts of yourself and spreading them everywhere. Like, I guess kind of like the crypto stuff. You have like a coin, and you're the coin, and you're spreading yourself across like 100 different people, but the value depreciates. It doesn't increase. So it's like people don't I don't know why I don't know if the lust is so strong or whatever, but they need to lock in and get a good wife that's going to really support them and
Mm-hmm.
really work together with them and leave these hoes and these predators alone. Like honestly, it's how men are being destroyed and it's
Yeah,
disgusting. Women
yeah,
see this stuff and they get so angry and so sick. Like
yeah. Because there's like everybody says, like there's always there's good women out there, there's good
yeah,
men out there. It's just a matter of like y'all actually meeting each other at the
exactly.
correct point in time.
Yeah,
Because there's some people like they're just not there yet on their journey, and that's cool. Like you know what I'm saying, they'll get there a bit later. But like if y'all are too well, I'll put it a different way. If you're somebody and you're looking for marriage, and the other person isn't, don't think you're finna change this person's mind. Just move on.
exactly.
Just move on.
Exactly.
Just
Yeah.
because they're not. If they're not saying, "Yo, this is what I want to do," just move on. Just move on. It's the easiest thing ever. Save
Yeah.
yourself a headache. Save them a headache. Because all you're gonna do is get drugged down through whatever number of years till you get fed up, and now you're gonna be back out on the market. You're gonna be a bit older. You're gonna be a bit more jaded, and it's gonna be even harder for you to accept that person that God has for your life.
That's true. That's 100% true. That is 100% true. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't stress that enough. I can't stress that
Yeah.
enough.
You need someone who's going to be ready for marriage the way that you are. And if that's what you're ready for, then you need to be with someone who's prepared to take that responsibility of life. And
Mhm.
that way you guys can actually effectively be a team together. If you can't, it's a constant tug of war, a push and pull. And, it's just going to hurt both people in the end because regardless if the other person, they think that they're just playing the game anyways, they're still
Mhm.
damaging themselves.
Yeah,
They're
that's
still
true.
affecting themselves mentally and emotionally and physically and giving themselves places where they don't belong and with people that they don't belong to and which will affect their relationship down the line with someone they actually do want to marry. So yeah, I agree. Get married. Make sure you find someone that's like at the same place as you, but get married. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I do want to ask you, this as a how did you find yourself like as a conservative woman? Like how did you end up like becoming like becoming more vocal and like doing social media and all that stuff? Like how'd you get out there like in your space?
Well, I am a Christian. I wouldn't really necessarily say conservative because
Yeah.
conservative is not with Christian values right now and has not been for a very long time. But I'm a Christian, and Christian is very, I guess you can say,
I like that.
conservative.
I like that. I like
So,
that. I like that.
um, but I try to follow the principles of God in the Bible, Jesus. But I ended up in social media more, which I really wouldn't have been. My father and I are very introverted people, and when I was raised in Canada, American Indian, born in Canada, but covered under the J Treaty, so America and Canada is my home. But my dad and I were literally just minding our own business. In like the middle of nowhere, kind of in Saskatchewan, and we're kind of just working. Like I had a government job. He's mechanical engineering tech, has a bachelor degree in technology, and we were just
Mhm.
doing our thing, going to work, gym, church, random stuff.
Yeah.
Small town Saskatchewan, and then COVID happened, and a lot of things were done really wrong, and so we ended up whistleblowing on that. We had a lot of persecution back home, and even in the U.S. I moved here because of it, and
Hmm.
we ended up going to social media to continue reaching out to people, connecting with more people who were kind of doing some of the same work. And
Hmm.
that's kind of how we started. And I was like, okay, well, if this is happening to us, it's surely happening to a bunch of other people. And so I was like, I should, make a podcast, the Karis Project, so that we
Hmm.
can actually give a voice to the voiceless because the mainstream media was not telling the truth of things that were going on. I saw so many people, like what you mentioned about the girl who, her mom like just gave her away or whatever. We had everything taken from us back home,
Hmm.
house, cars, corporate assets, bank account shut down. Yeah, Canada got crazy during the pandemic. So many people don't know, but it got wild. My little sister also got taken. She's 5, she's 6, she's 6 now. She's 6, or she just recently turned 7. But I haven't seen her in 5 years. I don't even know what she looks like, because like the persecution we were having. So it's like, I was like, if that's happening to us, yes, like, so it's why I'm like so passionate about like some of this stuff. But I ended up coming across so many different families on both sides of the border and other places who were having our same problem. And, you know, so we started giving a voice to them on our show. We're now on Mike Lindell's network on Lindell TV. We host a show on the Faith and Family Network called the Karis Project there. And we've had, you know, doctors, lawyers, nurses, you know, vax injured people, people who've had, you know, just regular citizens, you know, come on and talk about stuff. But yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. It was more, my dad says it like, you know, you never start anything, but when someone pisses in your cornflakes, you got to deal with it, you know? So that's kind of where we're at.
That's great. That's a wild example. That's wild.
I know. Yeah.
Oh man. In the cornflakes too. Like
I know.
There's nothing to offset it. Like if it was Frosted Flakes, there'd be a little offset, but it's cornflakes. Like
I know.
That's so bad.
I know. That's why.
Yeah, but oh man, I like yeah, I like that you said found that funny. But I like that you said that about yourself, about how you're more focused on God than, you know what I'm saying, the actual like conservatism. And that's also why I wanted to interview, because I wanted to know like more about like where you were at as far as like how you center yourself. You know what I'm saying? You know, because there's some aspects of it, like even myself, because I'm Christian as well. Like I find myself, I'm like, okay, this is cool. You know what I'm saying? I like this over here. But at the same time, like I just feel like there's more humane ways, or more like human, like there's a bit more like biblical ways to show a bit more of the fruits of the spirit when you're doing things. You know, I think that's the best way I can say that.
I agree. So for me, like I'm very much, I hate politics. I am very much a woman. I do not think that I have a place in like that type of leadership, because I think God has leadership positions for women, just not in that way. Like I want to have children. I want to have family. I want to be married. My dad tells me all the time, like I will call my dad, I'll be talking about something and he'd be like, you need to be married. That is the solution. You need a husband and that you can work with and do these things. That is literally your problem. You need a husband that you can go around and doing these things with. And that's true. Like I see that. And my focus is more so like how I can lead women into embracing what it means to actually be a Proverbs 31 woman. You know, that woman who's respectful, kind, she loves God, she would, you know, respects her father and her family. She builds something with her future husband through the teachings that she got. You know, she understands business and finance, and she her respect for him gives him more praise in the gates, and he's well known amongst his community because of the love and kindness that she does for the community and him. And you know, she's modest in her apparel and her speech and everything. And you know, there's a lot that I still work on all the time, but you know, my goal is to show women that we actually can be women in today's society, regardless of what the feminist liberation nonsense tells us. We don't need to buy into it. We don't need to be like the boss babe. We don't need to be like the CEOs or whatever else. I honestly, I just want to be a wife. Everyone's like, what do you want to do? What do you want to be? I've had so many different jobs that I've done over the course of my small life, I guess you can say, small time on this earth. The only thing I think that
how old are you?
I'm 28 years of age, but okay,
you lived a solid amount of life.
Yeah, small amount of life, you know. So I feel like of all the things the only thing that will fulfill me, I think, is actually being a wife and a mother. Like there's nothing, and I think a lot of women are going around right now like numb, not feeling anything because they're not fulfilling their biological, you know, tendencies, or they're not activating those biological purposes within them. And I noticed that the more that I like kind of dive into that, the more I feel like, you know, better with myself and closer to God, and the more peace I have, because we are constantly being pitted to compete against. Well, thank you, King Henry. We're constantly being, by the grace of God and my father alone, of course, but we're constantly being forced to compete against men. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. It's exhausting. It's tiring. I don't even understand it. The more I sit in rooms with men, especially because I go around at these political events. I went to CPAC, I went to AmFest, and, I do reporting there as media. But when I listen to men speak, the more and more that I understand, like, my role as a woman, that way God created me to be, and with the leadership of my father, I'm seeing just how different men are, the way that they operate, the way that they view things, the way they, communicate with their actions. And I'm constantly confused. Because I realize it's not that I don't understand what's coming out of their mouth. It's that I don't understand what they're actually intending, what their actual intention is with their actions and their body language and the words together and the things behind the scenes, or things that I can't even see that they're mitigating at the same time or creating around me. And so this is why I like working with my dad, because I can turn my brain off. And then when I have a husband someday, I will turn my brain off with him too. And I'm like, just tell me what to do. Give me a list of tasks and I will do them. And I will be happy as ever, because I would much rather have children until I can't have children anymore, like every year, and, do whatever my husband, tasks me to do at the house, than to go into corporate America and be a slave at like some job where I'm slaving away for that guy to take care of his wife the way that, I should be living.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
Like it's destroying us. And I want women to feel like peace. I want them to feel like, not genuinely just feel peace, but to know peace, like to understand and know peace, that they don't have to do these things and they can actually be women. It is okay to be soft. It is okay to be kind. It is okay to accept that you're intelligent, but still the lesser vessel, because you don't have the authority or the responsibility of that man. And you should be glad, because it is abusive to make a woman do those things.
Every year is crazy. Okay.
Look, when in the grand scheme of things.
I asked your opinion, but I have to say, every year is a bit extreme. Like, there's nowhere where I'm like, man, every year, like, oh man, I got another diaper. Like, whoa.
Okay, 10, maybe I'll cap it at 10 kids. If I would rather have 10 kids than to live in corporate America. When you think of the trade-off, the work, when you think of the work trade-off, that's what I'm talking about. It's egregious. Now, would I probably have 10 kids? Probably not, unless God and my husband were like, hey, this is what we're going to do. Then, I don't know. But, realistically speaking, I would much rather take on the role of, the fullness of being a mother than in corporate America, because we watch what the women are doing now. I've seen women who go into, they're neuroscientists, neurologists, I've seen, and lawyers, women who traded for OnlyFans, teachers who traded for OnlyFans, engineers who traded for OnlyFans. So it's like women who are across the board intelligent, going to the highest echelons of society, are now deciding, oh no, well, I'm just going to be going into OnlyFans, because they cannot keep up. It's not just the fact that they can do the academic work. It's the fact that they physically and mentally and emotionally cannot keep up the way that men do. When one light bulb goes out on the tree for women, it all goes out. Men, 999 bulbs are out. One is still on. The tree's still working, like the tree's still functioning. It's still, the show's on the road.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. So, I guess. I mean, because I don't necessarily have like a real issue. I just wanted to joke with you about the every year thing. Like, I just found it hilarious. I was like, there's no way. Like, there's no way. It's not. I mean, there is a way, because I know somebody that did that.
Oh yeah, people do that. Yeah, it's wild.
I was looking at them like, yo, like,
you need a break, low key. Yeah, you do.
I'm like, your body
needs a break.
I'm like,
I'm not saying that women should be pumped out like
I'm like,
cows.
the house.
No.
Ain't big enough. The car ain't big enough. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you keep having to get new cars and get another place, because, like, you know what I'm saying? You've now gotten past the starting five of a basketball team. You're now like, like you're almost at a football team, and I'm just like, fam, like, what are you doing?
Though I can't lie, I wouldn't mind a basketball team, honestly. But what I'm saying, you should have as much children as God and your husband and you decide is best for you. I'm not saying that people,
Right.
the women's job is to just pump out children. No, not at all.
Yeah,
But
of course.
God will bless you. He says in the Bible, he opens and closes the womb at his will. So ultimately it's his decision at the end of the day, and your cooperation, obviously. So it's like, do what God informs you to do what's best for you.
Yeah, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that. So I guess what's something else you want people to know about you? Like, what's something else that you find that you would think people would find interesting or fascinating?
I don't know. I
mean, I was, well, as you think about that, like, I guess for me, because I was thinking about like the whole like you're from Canada thing and like what happened there, like that sounds so crazy to me. Like I honestly, we don't have enough time to unpack all of that, but I want to so bad because I'm like, what in the world was going on up there? Because I was just in America, in California, like I was in my bubble. I didn't leave San Diego, like, so I don't know what was going on outside of like what was going on in California and in San Diego. Like I didn't go anywhere. Like I just walk up the street to the market, get my fruits and vegetables, go to the grocery store, buy my food, and I go back up into my apartment and cook food and chill. And then if I wanted something else, I would DoorDash it.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, it was really rough. Like I had to flee Canada because of how bad the persecution was on my family. And like I said, we lost everything. Our home, cars, corporate assets were taken. Bank accounts were shut down. All in one day, by the way. My little sister was taken. Yeah, and this was happening to a lot of Canadians. Like, that's why the trucker convoy, I don't know if you remember when all those trucks went to Ottawa.
Yeah, I do remember that.
That's a big reason why, because a lot of Canadians were getting like arrested for their views, and they were refusing to do things that were harmful to maybe their patients as doctors, or within engineering, they were refusing to do protocols that were harmful, and lawyers and nurses, a lot of people, right? And so I had to flee Canada from that, and I had a hard time here as well, because of some of the things we were whistleblowing. And I don't know if I can say the words on YouTube because I think they have like restriction, but
they do.
Yeah, so I ended up having a lot of persecution here as well. I was on and off the street a lot. I was unlawfully detained for a long time. And I went through that. Still have no criminal record in any country in the world, though, not even speeding tickets, so that's what's up. Because yeah.
Dude.
What happened is I'm native, but because of what I was exposing in Canada, they grabbed me when I was crossing the border. They took my tribal card and violated Title 18 laws and tried to concealed my native card and gave me to ICE, and ICE put me in a detention for 7 months. Like a maximum security detention, a military detention where they contracted immigrants to stay. And I, a Native American, was sitting in immigration prison with immigrants for 7 months until my dad was like hounding the Canadian consul, like, confirm her Indigenous status, and they finally did on like March 18th, 2021. And then March 31st, 2021, they released me. But then they forced me on like an American supervisor program. So I couldn't live by myself. I had to live with like American citizens. And like I had full surveillance tracking and everything. It was really messed up.
But you're
Yeah, it was messed up. And they did this for so many years. Like, it took me so long. Eventually I ended up getting a lawyer that kind of helped. They even tried to like throw me to like Mexico and all sorts of. I had to get a lawyer to help me. And it was messed up. It was bad. I was on and off the street. It was bad. I had a lot of crimes committed against me, and the police wouldn't do anything. I don't know. Like, in America, the last 5 years in America, the last administrations was just awful for crime. Like, the crime and the police, they just wouldn't do anything. And I couldn't understand it. I was like, okay, well, you can't say that like this is okay. Like, why aren't you doing anything about it? And they just wouldn't. I don't know. So we kind of talk about that stuff on my show, on my podcast, kind of the circumstances of how those things come to be. And my dad really gets more into that stuff. But yeah, for me, I think I'm more, I guess I'm an investigative reporter now. I've used all of the things that I experienced and try to put it together in a way where I can help other people now with that information, because the things that I went through, I don't know if anyone has seen Ryan Matta, but he's made a documentary. I can't even say the name of the documentary because I think the name of the documentary is one of the words that's TSA or whatever they call it on here.
Yeah,
and he talks about like some of the things that, it happens to like the kids who come across the border and, other things. And some of the same things that happened to me.
I worked with them during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
I can say, like, I can't talk about it per se, but I can say I've seen things that to this day like scars me for life.
Yeah, and it's like
I can't even fathom like how that is the one issue that I'm definitely like, yo, we gotta nip this in the bud, because there's so many other. It's not necessarily the immigration itself that's the issue. It's the underlying things that come with it that is the problem.
Yeah.
And it's hard to get people to understand, like, it's not, I don't mind people like trying to get a better life and doing whatever you have to do. Please
in a legal way.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I need asylum, blah, blah, blah. Like, I get it. That's fine. It's the other things that are happening and the way people are being taken advantage of. The things that are happening to women and kids and all this stuff. Like, I couldn't even like wrap my head around it.
Yeah,
like, there's one incident, and people that know will know. They're paying. I can't even. It's $10K. Like, all I can say is it's $10 to $15K, and it's like the best distraction in the world. That's all I can say. Like, and that's it. That's all I can say.
You'll have to tell me on the back end because I don't know.
Yeah, that was the wildest thing I ever seen. I never want to see it in my life.
It's like a 1% chance of that child living, like when they come across the border, and like what they do to those kids. And pretty much what ICE did to me, they treated me like I was an undocumented immigrant, even though they had all of my native tribal documents and enrollment papers and genealogy and everything. And they had to give me that back. Of course, I have all of those back now. But, the process of what you go through, I've seen so many things, and I have now a level of experience and knowledge and understanding of all of these different systems that they've passed me through and done things to me through, that now I'm like, okay, well, how can I use this to help other people? So now we've made this platform, the Karis Project, the podcast, and we try to connect the stories of everyone and bring them together to show people that this is not like a one-off event. Like, this is something that's happening across the board to many different families, many different people in their professions, in their expertise or whatever, and how all of these problems relate to one, from the first domino to fall all the way, like, which is the engineering controls, all the way down to the mandates and the election and the jabs and things like that. And so, and even what we're seeing up until today. So that's kind of what we focus on, but I'm more so individually focused on family and God, and because my dad's more the strategist and the general, and I
I feel that for sure. Okay, so close any what do you want to leave the people with, and also promote your platform and let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, so if you guys want to find me, you can find me on I'm on X, Kaysha Rick, Kaysha, just like there, and RIC. Kaysha was taken. There's some famous guy named Kaysha or something. He took the name by itself, and I was like, shoot. And you can find, which I think is the same across most platforms, or Kaysh, KAYSH.H. And then you can find the podcast, the Karis Project everywhere as well. We're on Facebook, we're on X, we're on Rumble. Go check us out on Rumble. We can say a lot more on there. We're also on Lindell TV. If you guys know Mike Lindell, the pillow guy, we are on his Faith and Family Network. We run 5 times a week. I do think it's at, I want to say 5 p.m. Eastern.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. And shoot us a message if you want to come on, or if you have a story to share, or if you just want to talk about, anything. I do a show called Real Talk with Kaysha, where I just kind of talk more based on like family and God and like, Proverbs 31 woman kind of stuff, or, just my journey getting, to where I think that God is leading me to go. I think that a word that I can give to everyone, I guess, I would say if you have a good father, really cherish that, because that's something that money can't buy. And I think in today's society, it's what's lacking a lot. I think if you have a good father, spend as much time as you can with him and really respect him, and a mother as well, like both. But, we give so much love and respect to mothers, and good ones. It's well deserved. It's 100% well deserved. Good mothers, they are amazing. They are literally the support for those fathers to continue doing what they're doing.
Right.
But I think this society needs to have more respect for fathers. The Bible actually doesn't say for women to love their husbands. It says to respect them. And children also respect their fathers, because...
and because I can tell you for a fact, all men know this. We value respect over love. Just
yes,
fact. We value respect over love. It works way more. It goes a lot further.
I've heard a whole, like, they did like a whole study on it, like where thousands of men, they were like, would you rather go the rest of your life without love or without respect? And they were like, without love.
Yes, easily, hands down. Yeah. It's a no-brainer for all men. And I don't even know what that is. It's just all men. We're on the same page. Like, yeah, I'd rather just be respected.
And it's so funny because women would be like, no, give me the love. Because to them, which is why women will cuss each other out when they're angry, but then they'll love each other in like the makeup or whatever. And it's funny that we operate different, but I think that's good, because it forces us to go outside of ourselves to love each other, and it forces us to be selfless in loving each other, because you're not going to get, like you said, you get a lot farther if you respect a man as opposed to loving him. And so it's like, now as a woman, I have to go outside of myself, against my natural tendency, and give selfless love by respecting him in duty. And I talk about that a lot, where marriage is actually purpose-based and it's duty-based, and happiness comes when you follow the duty. Just like when you're in a job, if you don't like the job, you want to get paid, you don't want to do all of those tasks, but the more you do them, the better. You might get a promotion, you're still going to get paid, you're going to get to keep your job. If you fail, then eventually you're going to get fired. It's like the same effort has to go into a marriage with somebody that you love and care about and respect. But my biggest message to people all the time is, respecting fathers, and so that you can learn how to have that good relationship with men going forward, and have a happy home, a respect, like a loving and respectful relationship where you can work together and be a team and be at war with the world outside, as opposed to at war with each other in your house. Like, you shouldn't leave an open entry for your enemies to take you guys out. Like, the world sucks already. You shouldn't hate each other. So peace and love that way. Men should be men and women should be women. And I think we should go back to that. I think we should go back to a very traditional way of life and courtship. And if you do have a good father, let him court the men in your life, because all of this talking and dating stages, they suck. You don't need to do that. If you like a guy, let your dad check him out. And, if he sucks and he's like a Ted Bundy guy, your dad is going to be like, hey, this guy is very messed up. Stay away from him. He's going to hurt you. Trust that even if you think that your dad, even if you don't respect your dad fully, your father is still a man and still understands men's actions and mind as a man. He's going to be able to sniff out a scumbag when he sees it. So
facts.
And also God above everything. I know I'm a yapper right now because like I'm definitely in the vibe, but respect God and your father, and you'll be a-okay. Or I shouldn't do that because but a-okay.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good. I understand that it's a mean. Yeah, I hate that got appropriated.
I know.
Like harmless stuff got appropriated. I said, who let people do this?
I know.
Like
But
it's there's a small fragment of people, less than like 5,000 that are using it bad. Like, how did we just let this happen and get appropriated?
Exactly. But I also definitely want to shout out to Smooth for you, and thank you for well, you are Smooth, but you guys, like the audience, I'm also trying to say, but thank you for bringing me on. I hope you guys follow and like and subscribe. This is YouTube. Well, there's a few platforms, but yeah, thank you so much for having me on. This was an awesome conversation. Hopefully we can have you on our show as well sometime, and maybe come back on yours.
Yeah, of course, anytime. This was great. This was good. This was good vibes. I was like, okay, we're pretty much on the same page. We share most of the same values. I'm like, I can rock. This is good. Anyway, you guys, this is episode number 357 of the Homeroom Smooth podcast. Again, Kaysha, thank you for coming on. Did I say it wrong again?
Yeah, you said it right this time. Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, I got subconscious. I was like, dang, I messed up. No, but anyway, y'all make sure y'all go follow her on all the platforms. They'll be linked in the description box down below very shortly, because we are live. So just give me a second. I'll put them in there. Anyway, thank y'all so much. We out. Okay.